In the heart of America, small businesses are the backbone of the economy. But these small businesses are facing a growing storm as they struggle to survive the effects of tariffs imposed by the Trump administration. A report in the New York Times on March 1st, based on a survey of nearly 100 small businesses importing goods from China, reveals the deepening distress caused by President Trump's tariffs. Mr. Trump's targeting of China has thrown millions of small businesses into turmoil. American businesses, not Chinese suppliers, were shouldering the cost of tariffs. They're forced to choose between cutting their own earnings or raising prices for consumers. Turning to domestic alternatives was usually not viable because they were more expensive, the quality was inferior, and there were fewer options.
This whole policy is based, in my view, on a fallacy and a fantasy. The fallacy is that the foreign country pays for these tariffs. Wrong. I'm a U.S. citizen with a U.S. company. I'm the one paying for these tariffs.
According to the U.S. Chamber of Commerce, there are 33.2 million small businesses in the United States, and they represent 44% of the country's GDP. These small businesses are also responsible for a significant portion of U.S. imports, particularly from China. In fact, the U.S. Census Bureau shows that small businesses account for 41.2% of all U.S. imports from China. By the end of 2024, it seemed like the United States was on track to tame inflation and steer the economy into a soft landing. However, a recent University of Michigan survey showed that consumers' one-year inflation outlook jumped to 4.9%, the highest level since November of 2022. With prices expected to climb, many businesses, especially those already operating on thin margins, are feeling the squeeze.
And as a result, what we've seen is that actually U.S. consumers have suffered higher prices, as well as U.S. producers reducing margins.
The U.S. tariffs on imports are also provoking strong countermeasures from China, Canada, and Mexico, which are set to hit American exports hard, adding further strain on small export businesses. Take agriculture, for instance. China has imposed a 15% tariff on U.S. agricultural products and a 10% tariff on American beef, creating an opening for competitors like Australian cereal exporters and Brazilian soybean producers. Once again, it's small American farmers, many of whom run family-owned businesses, who will bear the brunt of these trade tensions. Tariffs are often seen as a way to pressure other countries into making trade concessions. But the reality is that these tariffs are a tax on American businesses and consumers. Small businesses, which are already fragile, bear the brunt of these costs. It's not just about higher prices, it's about survival. As the tariff burden continues to rise, one must ask, how much longer can America's small businesses weather this storm before the economic fabric of the nation begins to fray?